I'm telling this story because I wish I had just been a little better informed.
You're right there, Charlie.
It just really hurts. By this point, I was in a pretty bad way.
I know it was gonna be hard, but I didn't think it was gonna be this hard. It just hurts so much.
We've tried so many things, and this coming here was the last resort.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. I'm not giving up. We're gonna get this. Hey guys, welcome to my breastfeeding story and things that I wish I had known before breastfeeding. It's taken me a long time to get to making this story. Just in case you're new to my channel, my name is Charlie. I'm a first-time mum. I am British and I live in Australia, and I have a baby girl who is almost 7 months old now. This is the story of basically how I went from practically giving up on breastfeeding to now fully breastfeeding. I'm currently sat in my little makeshift desk in the living room. The baby is asleep, probably won't be asleep for very long. Sorry about the fact that there's some Christmas decorations that you can see, because it probably won't be Christmas when you're watching this. Anyhow, I've got all my notes here because the way I want to tell this story is a bit of a combo between me talking to you and also putting in the vlogs that I filmed as I was going along. It's a very disjointed story because obviously it has been a very difficult time and I didn't film everything. I didn't film all the bits. So I'm gonna basically be jumping in when I need to explain something, but also showing you the real raw as it was happening moments to give you guys a better idea and just, I guess, be a bit more honest about everything to do with the topic. And I'm telling this story because I wish I had just been a little better informed and just knew. No, what I really wish is that I had actually seen, or there had been more of this type of content out there, more real stories on breastfeeding, and I wish that it had just been more accessible and more people would tell their stories, because if I had been a little bit more prepared on what could really happen, I think it wouldn't have been such of a shock and it wouldn't have affected me as much. Also, before we get started, I just wanted to say a few things. Firstly, I realise that this video could be quite triggering. Breastfeeding is a very, very sensitive, tricky topic, so if that is you, you obviously don't have to watch this, and I'm also very happy to chat. You can come send me a message on Instagram. I'm always happy to talk through things, talk through my experience, and give any advice from what I've personally experienced. On that note, this is only my personal journey. I'm not remotely a lactation consultant or a medical professional. So all I want to do is just share my journey, share what happened to me, and little things along the way. And lastly, when it comes to feeding babies, I don't care how you do it, as long as the baby is fed. You're gonna see in this that we have done a combo of pretty much everything. We have done breastfed, we've done formula, we've done a mixture, we've done every type of feeding process there is just to make sure that Lexi is fed. And it doesn't matter. We don't go around as adults asking, were you breastfed or were you formula fed? It makes absolutely no difference. So even though I know from experience that saying that can be a little hard to hear if you had your heart set on breastfeeding. But anyway, we'll get into that. But I just wanted to make it clear that even though this video is about breastfeeding and my breastfeeding journey, I am definitely on the opinion that fed is best. All of the admin out of the way, let's get started with the story. Around 38 weeks pregnant, I started expressing some colostrum. If you don't know what colostrum is, it's the liquid that comes just before the milk, and it's just super, super concentrated in nutrients. They call it liquid gold. So that comes in before your milk comes in. I didn't even know about this. In fact, I'm gonna say it right now, honestly, I thought the whole breastfeeding thing was going to be as simple as do I want to breastfeed or not? I honestly naively thought that that was as far as it went. And I think that's why I did struggle. I struggled a lot. And I'm gonna be completely so openly honest in this video because I know it's really important for people to know the real story. And like I said, I wish I had seen more stuff like this. Anyway, so we'll start with the birth because my birth didn't go to plan at all. Lexi was measuring up as a big baby, so my doctor didn't want to let me go past 41 weeks. So I was actually induced at, I think it was 40 weeks and 4 days. The induction didn't work. I can feel the contractions.
Yeah, it's just handling the contractions like a machine, but they're not
doing anything.
They're super regular now.
I don't really know what happened. I have got a whole video on my birth story. I'll link that in the description. But it didn't work. The drugs didn't work on me. And Lexi's heart rate started to drop. It basically wasn't going up in between contractions properly. And so the doctors were saying, if this continues the way it is, which it probably will, you're gonna end up with a cesarean. So we were just like, right. My gut instinct was just, something is not right, we need to get the baby out. And yeah, so we did. So I ended up with a cesarean.
She like sucks for a little bit and then kind of like stops. Well, I don't know what she's actually getting out of it, but...
No, that's not what it's about. It's about stimulating your hormones to start making milk. It's not about her. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
She'll survive.
Oh, yeah.
It's not.
I don't know if the cesarean is what triggered my milk to not come in as quickly. Having a natural birth is normally much better for your milk coming in. All the hormones are correct. Whereas if you have a cesarean, it's just not quite the same. I'm not going to go into the science behind that, obviously, but my milk didn't come in until the 5th day. So already, even though we had expressed some colostrum, we had quite a lot of it. We expressed it into syringes and we took that to the hospital with us. I had, I think, 10 syringes, but Lexi she was hungry. We ran out of colostrum and my milk hadn't come in, obviously. So Lexi was hungry and the doctors were checking her blood sugar and her blood sugars were dropping. And they said to us that if we don't give her something else, we don't basically give her some formula, they were gonna have to transport her to another hospital to just keep an eye on her and look out and check. We didn't want to do that. So we started giving her formula in a syringe.
Now, for the big one, you gotta get ready to stop the plunger because you're a little greedy one. Boom, straight in. Oh yeah, stop that plunger.
Oh, I can't laugh, it hurts too much, but she's so cute.
If I let it go, watch this.
You just go zoom. Look at that.
It's going alright. Every time I do it, I've got to remember to put my finger right to the back.
Yeah.
So that's what she's got to learn. She's got to learn that it's going to the back.
Oh,
That's where your boob's got to be.
Right to the back, yeah.
Anyway, on day 5, my milk finally came in.
Little wife feel bundled up, just starting to get her milk in.
Yeah, my boobs are really sore.
Boobs are really sore.
What day are we on? We're day 5.
I don't know. I've lost the plot completely. It's Saturday, but Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah, Saturday.
Friday, Saturday. So 10 o'clock tonight, she will be 5 days old.
In feeding her syringes, I'm never gonna know now whether that kind of basically hindered the process, because she very quickly, at a couple of days old, worked out that she could get the milk obviously much easier from a syringe than she could from me. So trying to get her to latch was very difficult.
She she sucks that hard, I can actually feel her pulling on the whole syringe.
Yeah.
So obviously I feel her suck my finger, but when I feel a good suck, I give her a little tiny bit.
I was struggling to move still. I was in my bed and I had cushions everywhere trying to build up around me to make a nest to try and put the baby on me because my stomach hadn't gone down. I was still very swollen, and yeah, trying to get into a position, kind of a bit of a mission every time we're like, oh, we're gonna start the breastfeeding. Yeah, so what we would do is we'd set everything up, we'd try and get her on the boob. She wouldn't latch. When babies are very small, when they're newborns, their movements are very like erratic and all over the place, and their head's like just thrashing around. That's actually just triggered a memory of, they tell you to do lots of skin to skin because that brings in your milk as well. So they kept trying to get me to do this. They put the baby on me. Well, Tom would bring Lexi over and I couldn't maneuver properly. I was in absolute agony for quite a long time from the operation. And so they put Lexi on me and she would just be thrashing about and slashing at me. And I just remember thinking, ooh, this is not quite what I thought this experience was going to be, you know. It wasn't quite the Instagram perfect, oh, my newborn baby, skin to skin contact, you know. It was far from it, basically. So I didn't have a lot of skin to skin contact right in those early days, which again might not have been so much help on the bit of a delay on my milk coming in. Back to the original story. You guys might need to get a drink. Go and get yourself a cup of tea or something, because this is a bit of a long one. But I want to, you know, tell it how it is and tell the whole thing. We tried literally everything to get her to latch. We would try and we'd obviously getting milk onto my nipple to get the taste in her mouth so she would try and actually suck. We tried like latching her on and pumping because obviously she was waiting for my letdown to happen, pumping a bit of milk through a syringe into her mouth. We tried nipple shields, which the nurses didn't actually tell me how to put on properly, so that was a bit of a disaster, because what happened was I finally got her to latch, but the nipple shield wasn't on perfectly straight, so it just blistered my nipple and was just unbelievably painful. And I think this was around the point that the pain started coming in. Up to this point, because I hadn't really got her latching properly, there wasn't any pain, but oh my goodness me.
Baby girl's sleeping, which is good because we're trying to express a bit of milk. I mean, obviously it's going on YouTube.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's working, but
It's working the
very first actual success. So 15 minutes on this one and then 15 on the other.
On the 6th day, we finally got a successful full feed and the milk drunk baby that I was, you know, craving.
That is a drunk baby.
First ever proper boob milk drunk.
She's rolling back in her head.
Yeah, I know.
She looks a bit of a mess, but
It's cute though.
she literally just smashed like 24 mils? 25 mils of milk.
Look at her little face. She's too focused enough. Oh.
I'll just give her a little clean up.
Recording. It's the first time, the first proper feed. We've been at home for 24 hours now, haven't we? And she's on. She's on.
For anyone watching this who thought they couldn't get their baby to latch, like they've given up hope and the whole world is ending and like really, really being affected by it. In the last 10 minutes, we have gone from being that person to having a little cheeky baby feeding on the boob. I'm assuming Charlie's going to black out her boob on this.
Yeah.
But that is one very latched on little baby. Thank goodness.
She's sucking away.
I'm sure Charlie's going to go into a lot of the stuff. There's a lot to talk about.
It's taken how long to get to this stage? So far, it's taken a week. I mean,
6 whole days.
obviously, this is not. Yeah, this is not. This does not mean that we've successfully achieved breastfeeding, but
I mean, it is still
it's step one.
still with a nipple guard,
Yeah.
so you know, it's a bit easier for them to find the nipple guard.
Her latch is so strong; it's hurting so much.
No, your nipples toughen up too. But yeah, don't give up.
Don't give up. I'm not giving up. We're gonna get this. This is gonna work. But this is very positive that we've managed to do about like a 10-minute feed on each side. And oh man, her latch is really bad. I kind of need to take her off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, I watch that clip now and just think, I had no idea really what I was getting myself into. I am fully aware that some people just take to breastfeeding easily, you know, just straight out. Just baby comes out, straight on the boob, and then that is breastfeeding. They just continue like that and it's absolutely fine. So I'm fully aware that it can be a really smooth journey. But for me, it really wasn't like that in the slightest. We just seem to have lots of complications come in from different angles. And I mean, that was the first day here, so that was day 7, because we'd actually spent 6 days in the hospital. Day 7, and I was like, oh yeah, I got a latch. I've got it, it's done, sorted.
Little milestone tonight on the 4th of the 5th. Little baby's finally decided she's gonna do a proper latch and a proper feed. Because Charlie's boobs are so ridiculously engorged. But she's been on there for like an hour. Hopefully she's getting a good feed. Charlie's so tired.
I'm so tired.
I'm gonna cook some food and...
How many days have you been at home now?
3rd day?
No, it's the 2nd day at home.
Second
Third
day. But we got back.
Second full day, yeah.
Yeah, 2nd full day.
Yeah.
Not that time is a thing anymore.
No. But honestly, after that, it was just weeks of some days getting her to latch once or twice and other days not. And I was trying my hardest to get my milk supply up. So I was obviously pumping as much as I possibly could. And it got to, I think it was from around that 7th, 8th day, and we were at home and I was pumping every 2.5, 3 hours around the clock, like through the night constantly. I was up all the time and I was struggling to get her to latch. It was unbelievably painful. Like the only way I can describe it is just someone like just stabbing needles in your boob and in your nipple, and oh, it was toe curlingly painful.
You're right there, Charlie.
It just really hurts.
We'll get there, cutie. Might need to just take a break and milk a bit of, do a batch of milk and give you 24 hours, you know? I know it's not that easy. Got to try and teach her to drink from a bottle all over again.
I just don't want to. I don't want to do that again. Like, it's taken so long to try and get her to try and latch that. Thank you. It's just, I didn't think it was gonna. I know it was gonna be hard, but I didn't think it was gonna be this hard. It just hurts so much. And her nipples are bleeding. Baby girl. Oh.
Burp.
Yeah, burping. She's unlatched.
Alright.
Oh.
You want a hand?
Yeah.
By this point, I was in a pretty bad way where I was pumping around the clock when I couldn't get her to latch, and I was just getting frustrated and she was getting frustrated, or I'd get her to latch and it was so unbelievably painful I couldn't deal with it. We'd be bottle feeding her, Tom would be bottle feeding her, I'd be sat there pumping, Tom would bottle feed her the express breast milk. I wasn't producing enough milk, so we were having to top her up with formula. My mental health was in a really, really bad way. I was feeling just like I was failing. I couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep on top of it. I couldn't pump enough to keep a stash in the fridge. I'd see these pictures or see these videos online of people with their stashes of breast milk in the freezer, and I just was like, how have these women done that? It just made me feel awful, if I'm honest. And I was just really, really struggling. I was seeing a mental health nurse. We had our CAFS nurse, CAFS services, something in Australia, like child and family healthcare. And she was coming around at least twice. I think we were seeing them like twice a week at that point to weigh Lexi and to just check everything was okay. But yeah, the fact that I had just had this image in my head of being able to breastfeed her and it all just being like, you know, really smooth sailing. I'd heard that it would hurt. I'd heard that you can have problems getting to latch, but I just didn't think at 4 weeks on we'd still be having a problem, you know.
Well, this isn't quite exactly how I pictured it being, but yeah, we're 4 weeks in and still trying to master the breastfeeding palaver.
It's really good today though, right?
It was really, yeah, she was really good at we've seen a private lactation consultant now, and now just today the one at the doctor's surgery, and yeah, she was really great, and she just explained a lot of stuff and talked through lots of things, and we just got to keep trying, because I think before, I don't really know, I hadn't done a lot of research into it, but I honestly had like this view that breastfeeding was just like something you mastered in a couple of days, and had no idea that it could take like 6 weeks.
When we were having problems trying to get her to latch, we tried absolutely everything. We had her checked by various doctors for tongue ties and lip ties and, well, all the ties, and she didn't have anything. She was absolutely fine. I hired a private lactation consultant to come to the house. She observed how we were doing the feeding, the positions, the environment, like absolutely everything, and she basically taught me how to do the latch, which was great when she was here. But then when she left, I just could not get her to latch again in the same way with like the pain-free latch. It was just impossible. And again, when she was really tiny, it isn't just as straightforward as just like put her on. It wasn't like that, because her head was like this and like her arms were like this, wiping up my nipples, and it was a two-person job. It got to the point where Tom had to help me. I'd have to hold my boob and the baby's head, and Tom would hold her arms out to stop her slashing at me, and it was hectic and nothing like how you imagine it to be. It got to the point where I was just dreading the feeds. I was absolutely hating it, and it was affecting my mental health so badly, and it was affecting my relationship with Lexi. I just didn't want to be around her. Completely honest, I just didn't want to be around her. It was just a horrible, horrible stage, you know. And I didn't know how to deal with that feeling either, because that's not how a mum is supposed to feel about their baby. They're not supposed to be like having a massive aversion to them coming near because of the pain that they were causing on the feeds. The healthcare professionals were quite worried about me and my mental health, and when they did any of the kind of, you know, checks and tests and stuff, I wasn't scoring very well. So they referred us to a support house called Torrent House, which is in Adelaide. And we got fast-tracked in because I obviously wanted to go to established breastfeeding, and small babies and establishing breastfeeding takes priority over pretty much anything else, because you've got a very small window to get it established. So we got in very quickly. We got a referral put in, and then we got a phone call saying, we've got a space for you to come. Can you come next week? And so Tom and I were like, yes. We packed up our stuff and we're like, right, we're gonna just give this one last stab. I actually did vlog a fair amount at Torrent's house, so I'm gonna, again, jump back to that moment in time. While Lexi's asleep, I'm going to grab another couple of seconds. I tried to do this earlier, but the like the mental health nurse or the psychologist that we're seeing came in to have a chat to us. I'm not going to go into that right now because there's a lot going on there. But basically, we came to Torrent House as kind of almost a last attempt at trying to establish breastfeeding. I haven't really been vlogging it at all because it's just been traumatic, to be honest. It's been a really tough journey, but finally today, yesterday, we made the decision that I can't do it anymore. I feel like I'm just missing time with her being so tiny, because I'm just dreading the feeds and the pumping, and I've definitely got a really bad aversion to it because it's so painful, and it's just ruining this really special time of her being a newborn. And it's the guilt has just been horrific. And I know that this isn't like the end of feeling like that. I know that I'm gonna be in a right state on repeat, I think, until I can come to terms with it. But I think this is the best thing for both me, Tom, and Alexis. Like, this is what we need to do, really, because how we're going at the moment just isn't sustainable. The pumping, and it's painful and it's exhausting, and I just want to enjoy this time with her as a newborn. And she's 5 weeks already, and I feel like I've missed so much, and Tom's been taking up the slack, you know, because I just been an emotional wreck. The best way to describe what's happened is it's been a lot of events ricocheting on from the second she was born that have kind of got us to this stage. I think we had trouble in hospital of you know, I got given nipple shields that just weren't put on properly, and so they just damaged my nipples so badly. I was bleeding and blistered, and she wasn't latching. We couldn't get her to latch, and then when she did latch, I was so paranoid about, I just didn't want to take her off, even though it was horrendously painful and I knew she wasn't on properly. I wouldn't take her off because I just wanted to get her the milk. And you know, it went from that, and then I had to have a break, and we've tried so many things, and this coming here was the last resort, basically, for some support. And the first day I got here, I managed to do 2 consecutive feeds, and they were painful, but it was tolerable. But then the third one, I couldn't do it. I just could not do it, and I just thought, I was just distraught again. I was just in floods of tears, and I just thought, I can't continue with this. There has to be a deadline on this, because otherwise I'm just going to continue in this perpetual cycle of trying to breastfeed and maybe getting in 1 or 2 and then failing. And yeah, it's just been a really big journey, and I haven't documented most of this. I don't even know where this is going to go in the story, to be honest, because it just has been so difficult for me. It's been the hardest thing I've ever had to do, really. And making this decision, I know even though I've made the decision, I haven't come to terms with it properly yet. But we'll get there. Oh. Do you need help getting him in the room there? Is it waking up time?
Yeah, we got where. Put her under the light.
Tummy Roo, how are you? How are you feeling about the decision that we've just made?
Good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the breastfeeding thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. It wasn't working.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't
working. It wasn't good at all. What we were doing.
Yeah. So I think we've come to the conclusion that our mental health and enjoyment with Lexi is more important than just trying to feed her.
Yeah.
So it's still going to be really up and down, I think, but I think making a definitive decision is going to help.
sleep, so we're not doing zombies.
Yeah.
You know, actually enjoy being alive and having a baby instead of just hating
life, trying to get through.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I mean, I know that a lot of parents, that is the situation, I guess, but like I don't want it to be like just get through, just survive. Like I want to be able to, and I want to be able to enjoy it, and I wasn't enjoying anything. Like maybe once or twice when she does a tiny little smile, it'd be like, oh, that's cute, but I just wasn't enjoying any of it at all. So about 5.5 weeks in, I gave up. We'd made that decision. The nurses gave me instructions on how to start reducing my milk. So I started just pumping enough to relieve the pressure and not obviously trying to keep my supply up. I feel like I'm a milk factory. Except I'm not going to be a milk factory for much longer. Well, probably still a few weeks, but my boobs are so tight. However, by this point in the journey, we had worked so hard to get my milk supply up, and I had finally actually got my milk supply up. Like I was actually producing enough for her, and I was producing excess. And when we got home, I don't know what it was at all. I think it was the pressure being taken off of just being like, right, well, I'm not breastfeeding anymore. That I think it was like two or 3 days after I'd had a little bit of time to let it sink in, and I just had this overwhelming urge just to try again. So I started doing just one feed, and I managed to successfully latch her, and it wasn't too painful. It wasn't overwhelmingly painful. And then it went from 1 feed to 2 feeds a day. And I'd said to Tom, I was like, I've worked so hard to get my milk up that I just couldn't let go of both, basically. I felt like I've let go of the whole breastfeeding, but I didn't want to let go of feeding her breast milk. So I thought, right, I'm just going to continue pumping. And obviously I just had this urge to put her on the boob, and as I said, it started increasing. It just naturally started increasing. I went from 1 a day to 2 a day. We had a whiteboard, and I was writing up exactly how much she'd eaten at what time, and whether it was a breastfeed or whether it was expressed milk. And suddenly I realized that I'd gone, I think it was like 2 weeks later or something, I'd actually done like 3 or 4 feeds consecutively in a day, and we'd actually managed it. And I was like, oh, well, this is turned around quickly. This one just had a full feed on the boob. That's the second time we've done managed that, so we're getting there. 8 weeks. Who'd have thought it takes this long to get some breastfeeding sorted, you know? And then, out of the blue, this happened. I just want to document that it is Wednesday, the 7th of July. She is just over, she's 10 weeks and 1 day. For the last couple of days, well, for the last few weeks, I've been doing a couple of boob feeds a day, and then I've kind of upped it from like maybe 1 or 2 to 3 or 4. And then the last couple of days, I've upped it to even more, like 4 boob feeds a day. Now, Tom has been away all day, so I've been on my own. I tried to do a bottle feed. She wouldn't take it. It's officially over. I officially can't feed her the bottle anymore. She won't take it. She screamed for about half an hour. It was heartbreaking. I tried. She drank a tiny bit of it, but just didn't want it. She drank 10 mils. What a waste. I tried so hard. She wouldn't take it. She's now sat in the chair smiling at me. Game over for trying to feed her a bottle. My nipples are just annihilated. Look at this one. Smiling away. Well, she was until I put the camera on her. Baby girl. Baby girl. Ah,
baby girl, you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy, little one?
Around the 12 to 14 week mark, my milk started to regulate itself, which is probably a delay on what other people would have if they were just breastfeeding like bang straight from the start. But up to that point, if I missed a pump or if I just wanted to sleep a little bit longer than like every 2 hours or so, I would wake up and my bra would just be soaked and the pads would just be soaked through.
Lexi slept all the way through the night till 6:30. Well, she's technically still asleep now, and it's like almost 7. But this is the situation. My entire bra is soaked. I've soaked through the bra. Got a pad in there as well, and it's completely full. Milk everywhere. Fair amount of milk.
Then, just when I thought I was getting the hang of it,
It's been like days of the most painful feeds. My breast is hurting so bad, and it's been like it for literally days. I'm feeling she's crying in the background because she's hungry. I don't know. I don't understand. I thought I got this. We'd had like 2 good weeks where there'd be a couple of painful feeds, but in the last week, every single one, not the last week, but the last 3 days, every single feed has just been so painful, like unbearable again. I don't know why.
then around 22 weeks, we finally got there. 22 weeks. Who would have thought that it could take that long? I mean, I just had no idea. I really didn't have a clue. And I wish I had known that if you can't get it established on day 1, day 2, day 3, that it's still possible. In my head, I have no idea why, but I honestly thought that if you couldn't get the hang of breastfeeding in that first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I was like, oh, it's game over, this is just not gonna happen. But that is obviously that's not true. This story, my story, is proof that if you just persist, you can do it. So Lexi is 7 months old. We're obviously still in the thick of this journey. It keeps changing. She has got 2 bottom teeth now, so she started biting. I don't know whether it's gonna get worse when she gets more teeth. I don't know. I'm just, taking each day as it comes, just riding this breastfeeding journey, seeing what happens. All I know is that I've got this far, and if this is as far as I can get, then that's how it is. And you know what, it doesn't matter. She can either have formula. We're trying to get her onto solids now, not very successfully. That's a whole nother story. Anyhow, I hope that this video has been helpful for you. I really, really would love it if you shared it with someone that is going through this situation at the moment or is pregnant and wants to learn more. The reason I have told this story is that anything I can do to help other people be a little bit more prepared and not go through the absolute hell that I went through, because I just didn't know enough and I was just completely ill-equipped for this. And as I said, I naively thought before that breastfeeding was as simple as, do I want to breastfeed or not? And then, I did research on how you're supposed to breastfeed, but you can't learn how to breastfeed until you're in the thick of it and you're having to do it. So it's kind of pointless, watching those sort of videos and stuff. But I didn't know that at the time. So yeah, I just hope this helps someone. So please share it with one of your friends that you think that this might be useful for. and I would love to hear about your stories. So come and chat to me in the comments, and pop over to my Instagram if you want to chat privately. As I said before, I'm more than happy to answer any questions or tell you more about my story. Please consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed, because I do lots of baby adventures and also mum tips and other topics. I'm going to be doing another few videos around breastfeeding. I'm going to share all of my breastfeeding equipment, all those little gadgets that were just super useful, all the things that I found useful to take to hospital, and as Lexi's growing up, just more kind of tips and hacks, I guess, on top of all my daily behind the scenes, daily? I don't do daily, if I'm a mum, are you kidding me? All my behind the scenes videos. Yeah, so there's lots still coming up on this channel. I would love to have you as part of the family. Until next time, thanks for watching guys, see you soon.